Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a weekday cleaning video. In this week's video, I wanted to give a realistic look at my cleaning routine during a normal workday. And of course, the first thing I start off with is making my bed. And fun fact about my dog Kiki is that she likes to sleep in all day, basically. Particularly on work days, you'll catch her still in the bed, so I didn't want to disturb her too much. I usually just make the bed around her. But I wanted to take the time in today's video to show you a realistic routine of the chores that I get done during the day. And of course, the first thing I start off with is making the bed. That's one of the first things I do within the first 15-20 minutes of waking up typically. The next thing I'm doing here, this was a bit of a time jump later, is just kind of straightening up the kitchen. Usually I do this during or before making my morning coffee. I just put away some of the dishes that were left out from last night, and then I collected the rags from the kitchen because it was time to give those a good washing in the washing machine. On the right hand side of the washer is where we keep dirty rags. I honestly don't know where people typically keep dirty rags, maybe in a closet normally, but we don't have a lot of closet space in this apartment in particular, so I keep them in a smaller laundry basket that fits tucked away in the corner of this washer dryer. In a previous apartment that I was in, I used to keep them in a plastic bag and hang them off the door, so this is kind of an upgrade from that. So I'm curious to know where you keep your dirty rags, but every time I wash them, I just add a little bit of laundry detergent, not too much, and I put them on a quick cycle with hot water. That runs for about 25 minutes. And again, this is probably a little bit of a time jump later, but I am folding these clothes that were hanging for a day or two, and the heavier fleece there, I'm putting that away because it is no longer that cold and it's not needed anymore. So that can kind of be packed up at a later time. Then I'm putting the laundry rack in the closet. I'm taking hangers and just putting them onto the shirts and sweatshirts that I prefer to hang up. And then of course it is time to put them in the closet. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I do this in waves. Sometimes I'll just take the clothes off the drying rack and then leave them on the bed. Sometimes I'll put them on the bed and add the hangers to them, but not put them away quite yet. It's really just a balance, and of course this was a little bit more of a productive day for me because I knew I was filming and I wanted to get at least a little bit more done than I usually do. But don't beat yourself up too much on how much you get done. Every little bit counts, every little bit adds up. If you have to do it in kind of segments, then so be it. And speaking of getting a bunch of work done, this is one of the tasks that's the most tedious. One of the most tedious laundry tasks to me is putting the pads back in bras. This takes forever to get them aligned just right and then matching the right pads to the right bras. I mean, I know it probably doesn't matter ultimately if they get mixed up, but I just feel there's certain ones that belong to certain sports bras and certain ones belong to the other bras. So it takes a little longer than I would like. So again, some time has passed and we're back in the laundry room, and I am just loading up the dryer with the wet rags, placing in a dryer sheets, and then I'm going to set them to run the dryer cycle. And just calling out these two items that I don't put into the dryer because I think you're not supposed to put rubber in the dryer. These are both oven mitts. So I like to put them on the windowsill in kind of the sun so that they can dry that way. Again, some time has passed and we are back in the kitchen. And I think at this point I was kind of taking a break from the workday. I think this was like early to mid-afternoon, maybe like around 3 o'clock. I'm just going to be organizing, since I had taken away the drying mat that is usually on the right side of the sink. I decided that I wanted to wipe it down, so I just removed the toaster and then got out my Method granite cleaner and gave that area a good clean. Usually there's a bunch of like bagel and toast crumbs that kind of gather under the toaster, so it was good to get this done. Alright, so the workday has been complete and this is what we're dealing with. This is the post-dinner mess to clean up. Now my boyfriend cooked and so my chore was to clean it up, so that is exactly what I am doing here. Just kind of putting everything by the sink that needs to be in the sink and then giving the countertop a spray with, again, the Method granite cleaner. This chore definitely took the longest. It was all of the dishes that we had. We had some type of pasta dish and then also made air fried broccoli or something was air fried. I'm not quite sure, but it just added up to, you know, more dishes than normal, but that's okay. That's my chore for the evening and I'm getting it done here. And I recently had to upgrade my cleaning gloves. My other ones got a hole in it. Before I had I think it was like the Target Method brand gloves, and these are the Clorox brand gloves, I believe. It came in a pack of 2. So just the main difference that I see from them is that it doesn't extend as far up the arm as the Method one did. The Method one was definitely a little longer in length. This one's a little shorter, so sometimes water kind of drips in. But let me know if you have a recommendation for cleaning glove, if you have a preferred brand or something. I'm still kind of new to the world. I don't know why it took me so long to be like, okay, I should start wearing cleaning gloves because my hands get so dry and so crackly, especially in the winter. It just took me a while to realize that this was kind of something that could help with that. So after all of the dish cleaning, I'm just spraying down the sink with my Dawn Power Wash. I think it had been a little, a couple days since I last did this, so I just like to give the sink a quick clean typically. And since the dishwasher was full from all of that cleaning, I'm going to go ahead and run a cycle on that. So coming back, this was probably like an hour or so later, I wanted to wash these travel size containers that I had from a trip I took a couple weeks ago. Now, for me personally, when I take trips and I pack these little shampoo and like moisturizer bottles, I usually put more in there than I actually need. It's kind of hard to like time it right, how much product you actually need for like 3 or 4 days. So typically I'm left with more product than I needed for the trip. And then I spend like the next week or 2 actually finishing the product in that travel size container so that I can clean it, clean them all at once. I think it's just easier to get them all done at once rather than just clean one off, but I could be wrong. Maybe this is just my method to kind of put it off. But again, it had been a couple weeks since this trip finished, and then it took a week or 2 to actually finish the product in them. So here I am actually rinsing the bottles so that these travel containers can be good to go for my next trip. And there they are. I just like to let them dry out on a washcloth overnight for like a day or 2. All right, and we are on to the final task for the evening. That task that we started earlier in this video, which was washing the rags. Again, it's okay, you don't have to be perfect and you don't have to finish the whole laundry cycle in one sitting. If you're busy with work, with kids, with life, sometimes the rags just have to wait until the end of the day to get folded. Also, this is a really tedious task for me. It's really repetitive and annoying to kind of sort out the rags. Now, luckily I put it off until there's like a big batch of them, so I'm not like doing little batches of rags all the time. But it's kind of a lot, and honestly it's nice to sit in front of the TV, listen to a podcast, or watch a YouTube video while getting this done. So that just helps to pass the time a little bit better. And for me with the rags, I kind of sort them out by categories. So there's the microfiber ones, and then there's the cotton ones, and then there's ones that we use for the coffee machine. There's like the blue, white, and the yellow ones. So they all kind of go into their own section together into these two baskets. The cotton ones are more for like drying your hands really, and dish towels. And then the other ones are for like surfaces and the floors, other things like that. Then both the baskets belong in these cabinets, so I'm just putting those away. And you know what? Actually, I lied. This is the final chore for the evening. We are vacuuming the couch. Just taking my Dyson with the small motor attachment and just giving the couch a quick vacuuming so that we can sit on it and enjoy it for the evening, putting all of the blankets and pillows back where they belong now that the couch is clean. And we are all set to enjoy a nice clean home. Gonna enjoy some below deck this evening and just sit back and relax after a day of work and chores. So that wraps it up for this week's cleaning video. I hope this gave you some motivation and inspiration to get some cleaning done of your own. Whatever you can get done during the week, it's all good. I hope you enjoyed. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more videos on a weekly basis, and I will see you in the next one.